My name is Shirley Self, and I'm here to talk about the journey of the soul, according to William Butler Yeats. I've come to moon phase 12. Remember, at moon phase 11, the lunar mind was rudely awakened to its own divinity, virtually driven into the center of the self to discover by some brutal rape, some brutal invasion. And the solar mind had to learn to pay attention, learn to catch the signals from this lunar mind that was now knowing virtually everything that was available to be known, and in order to accomplish what he wanted to out in the world. So at phase 12, that solar mind has got to refocus itself to the internal, because it is going to come and join the lunar mind in the heart and create the androgynous Mercury the hermaphrodite, the free traveler through all realms. And he is. Mercury the hermaphrodite can go down, can go up, as well as going sideways, which it does a lot because it's Gemini. Anyway, so here we've come to the wisdom phases, the wisdom of desire, wisdom of the head, wisdom of the heart, and wisdom of the soul. So this is a depth initiation that will consume the lifetime, as phase 12 is purged of the past. We are going to start out with a new well here. Notice that Leo, we're in the Aries decadent now, and moving into the Virgo sign in the Virgo decadent. Have you ever noticed that the ones next to each other are in conjunct? It's like you build up to this, and then you have to do this in order to come into balance again. So, in order to maintain the health of the entity. So anyway, that's the nature of the inconjunct. So the will the old will is virtually eliminated, and a new will is created. Old will is purged in this karmic battle. Yeats said that the myth that explains this karmic battle is Meleager and the Caledonian boar. And I won't go through that myth. It's interesting, but it's long. And enough to say that the boar, the Caledonian boar that Meleager has to fight, is the karmic boar, the karmic pig that now 12 has to deal with and eliminate. Now Meleager did, with the help of his a woman that he learned to love, fell in love with, kill that boar. But he was also ended up dead. And that is the meaning of this. This is a new will. The old will and all of that pride that went with the old will, pride of accomplishment, pride of who I am, all that is a major issue to deal with in killing off the old will. Is that the pride in the old will is exceedingly strong. So it all in this moon phase 12, the soul has got to eliminate all the accumulated stuff that is not his, accumulated attitudes, beliefs, desires that are not his. But he's also got to face the what he didn't do in moon phase 4. Remember, moon phase 4 had to, well, look where it is. It's Virgo. It means to discern your own talents. Get out there in the world and work them. Learn who they are and what you can do. And notice that moon phase 4 was also of this huge rectangle here that shows the moon, the potential of that moon phase. It's also the potential of this. And so what phase 12 has got to do is to recapture those wild desires that were not actualized at moon phase 4. Recapture virtually the uneducated wrath of the Demogorgon that's left over from that phase, and convert it into soul power, consciousness. So in order to restore that energy to soul purposes, he has to kill the past. And all these phases have a tendency to vacillate, to be indecisive, and to sit in their chair a lot and just be indecisive and not to make a choice of which way to go. And this is a problem. There's a deep uncertainty that attends to this moon phase. They're born uneasy. They're born suspicious. They take nothing at face value. Notice we've got up here the creative genius at moon phase 18 is Scorpio, the Pisces decadent of Scorpio. So there's a lot of self-doubt that afflicts moon phase 12. There's a very uncertain feeling about what in the world they're supposed to do and what in the world they're supposed to bring to themselves. They take nothing at face value. Nothing at face value. However, they can cling, to what they knew, and they can cling to what is past to ridiculous extremes. They are a phase of extremes. They endure an extreme inner tension, and it's felt as sexual tension. Of course it is. Look up here at the Scorpio. They all of these water quarter phases are afflicted with an ability to fly into a rage at the drop of a hat. And this is exceedingly true of moon phase 12, which is trying to make the jump. And that's one of the problems why this is such a difficult phase. They're trying to go from Leo and an Aries decadent to Virgo and a Virgo decadent, and this is a jump. They're over here at moon phase 4, in which you're trying to discern their oh no, I'm sorry, it was moon phase 5 that makes the jump. Up here in oh, it's over here, I'm sorry, I'm confused. Over here at moon phase 26 is that other very difficult phase that has to go from Aquarius in the Libra decadent to Pisces in the Pisces decadent, and that is a very difficult phase. These are two of the most difficult phases in the whole cycle. Phase 26, Yeats said, is so difficult that you only have to do it once. I mean, you just only have to do that once. This one, if you don't make it through the first time to the daemon's satisfaction, you could go through a second time, and maybe even a third. But anyway, these people can't hide from themselves. What have they got over here is incredible clarity that comes from, well, this is also the wisdom of clarity, the wisdom of being able to see. These people are, they can't hide. He can't hide from himself. He can clearly see what's going on in himself. And that's a blessing and a curse. So that he can hold no illusions. The rage is meant to be turned upon himself, upon his own imperfections, and he can see his imperfections. That right there is the curse of both the 26 and 12, is that you see what's wrong with you so clearly. Clearly, it is a painful, painful reality. So we've given into Virgo here, and the perfection here is achieved by a purge of the past, a purge of past attitudes. And what's to promote that purge is that when the solar mind actually accedes to solitude, These people are half solitary, and these people are feel incredibly alone, because they are. And they're encouraged to be alone, because that's when they analyze themselves, reflect upon themselves. That's where they grow past the past. That's when they purge their crap. These the only strength these people can have is in the ideal they find inside themselves. There is an ideal. They'll have a vision of future perfection, of what they can achieve by working their butts off. And that ideal is so powerful in them that it is enough to pull them forward. If they don't go forward freely, they're accidents. The daemon will kick them into their solitude by afflicting them with accidents. Every wonderful situation that they have managed to set up will be broken by the daemon. Accidents will drive him into solitude and into their deeper understandings. The lifetime is one of search. It's an inner search. It's a conquest of inner territory, huge inner territory. The truth of themselves is recognized in their heart. They've come to the point where they're alone. They don't particularly like it, but they've grown past needing other people's approval. Notice that this was a problem with 9, 10, and 11, is that they couldn't quite escape from other people's disapproval or approval of them. This is not a problem with Moon Phase 12. He feels alone, and if you can't handle it, not my problem. So they're alone, but they hate it. Their personality is dramatic and expansive, as you would expect from phase in Leo, Aries, decadent. They're out of phase. Out of phase, these people are discouraged and disillusioned, and that will come to them from the Scorpio Pisces up here at Moon Phase 18. Discouraged and disillusioned, and if they're still trying for success, money and position, their creativity dries up, and these are the most incredibly creative people. And so if they're trying to meet other people's expectations or judgment, they have to accede to their own judgment. Other people's judgment of how they're doing is totally irrelevant to them. If they try to conform to what others expect of them, they will lose that glorious creativity. And this will make them mean. mean. They'll take up some warlike cause, and they've got the cynicism up here of Scorpio, so they can justify, and the cynicism that comes from Aquarius, they can justify their attitude toward the world by their brutal attitude toward the world because Aquarius can justify anything. So a problem that starts right about here is these people, because the mask is over there and is in Pisces, these people can be cold and evasive and capricious and unwilling, uncooperative, untruthful. If they lack emotional discipline, which they should have got back here, they'll live in a life of emotional reaction, just reacting to what's going on in the world. And they're not happy people then. So their only strength is in that ideal that they have seen inside themselves and that they can become. All they have to do is search and never sit on their hands. Search. Keep going. We've got some wonderful moon phase 12s. Lucille Ball, Hillary Clinton. Now, Hillary Clinton is a prime example of what happens when the moon phase 12 wants to succeed on other people's, succeed according to other people's values. Excuse me, I'm going to get a sip of water. And every time she got on a roll, why, some will come along, accidents will come along, and that's her body of fate, will come along and knock her off her perch. And okay, that Hillary Clinton. Aleister Crowley was a moon phase 12. B.K.S. Iyengar, the yogi who virtually remade himself and became a force for yoga across the world. Ralph Nader, whom we're all grateful for, because he's another iconoclast that says, that tells it like it is, follows his gut, tells it like it is. Jack Nicholson. Now, I would believe he's a 12. Ann Richards, who was, I think, governor of Texas, a decent Texas politician. William Shakespeare. Now, there's all these theories about who really wrote those wonderful plays that are just... well, I think William Shakespeare did. I mean, he had the chops. Moon phase 12 is extraordinary. Extraordinary. The inner capacities that they have are much more than their outer capacities. Shakespeare didn't have to live in the court. He did not have to access the court in order to know. He could feel it. He could attune to it. He knew it inside himself. Moon phase 12 is open to everything that has been experienced once they open. And H.G. Wells was a moon phase 12. Here, let me get this down for a sec. Put it over there. And here is the Kabbalah of the Golden Dawn. Now there's snake upon the tree. And we've come to moon phase 12, which 12 and 26 are here on the Emperor, which is the connection between the Sun and Uranus. So the Emperor is called the Son of the Morning, and that's interesting because this card, as you can see, he's got his feet on a ram, and that's Aries, and there are other ram indications in that chart or in that card. As the Sun is exalted in Aries. So this is an Aries card. And that is why in order to do this path, and he's crossing the death here. He's crossing the abyss. In order to cross the abyss, you have to be renewed. You have to leave all that is not you. All that is not you or yours behind. Be renewed. This is an Aries card. This is an Aries path. Be renewed so that you can become. This is that incredible image that moon phase 12 is given. You can become something incredible, a unique individual. So let's see what I have. Oh, and this is also a card of the window, sight. You notice he's holding the orb of dominion, which is in his right hand there. And what else did I want to say about him? Okay, that's the Emperor. It is a return to innocence. Aries, innocence, the lamb. Here's a card of the creative genius and the body of fate. This is the card of 4 and 18. Creative genius, the body of fate. This is a hard card. This is the Tower, and that's a card that says, if you know what you want, you have to walk the walk in order to get it. It also is, this card expresses that the consciousness, the clarity that is virtually, well, it could be regarded as a curse of moon phase 12 because he can't hide anything from himself. He cannot deny the truth of himself. He sees himself too clearly. And that's the meaning of the lightning striking the tower there. This is action that is empowerment. This is an action, a choice of territory of conquest, specialization. It's the mouth. It's also words of power. So let's see who we've got here to show you wonderful moon phase 12s. This is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It's not showing up too good. There, that's better. Now that information for him, our U.S. president, he was president when I was born. It was 30 January 1882 at 8:45 p.m., Hyde Park, New York. Now this man, I loved this president. He noticed the North Node is down there in the third house. He was notorious for his fireside chats. He read the funnies to me on Sunday morning. He has no fire in this chart. No fire. He fired us up, though, but he had no fire in his chart. He just had the North Node in fire. And his ascendant and his midheaven are both ruled by Mercury. Now, that Mercury is that nervous system. Is that chart showing up too good? Here. Mercury is the nervous system. And that Mercury is in conjunct the ascendant. And is also squared to Pluto. And Pluto's in Taurus in the 8th, so it very much affected his physical body. His Fortuna is also in conjunct Uranus, which has to do with the functioning of that nervous system. Functioning, Virgo, the nervous system is Uranus. So his mask is in Pisces. Now, he married well. He deliberately chose Eleanor Roosevelt because she was very valuable to him. His mask is Pisces, and that Neptune is over there conjunct Saturn, and Jupiter, and Chiron, and then there is the Pluto. That's all in Taurus in the 8th house. And that is how valuable Eleanor was to him. He married her because she was the niece of the President Teddy Roosevelt. And she did prove very valuable to him because she was actually a better politician than he. Her moon phase was moon phase 22, which is the ultimate politician. And so she brought him information. She was his eyes and ears out in the world. She was a good mask for him. And she was also his creative genius. That creative genius is down there conjunct the North Node in Sagittarius in the 3rd. He was his reporter. She would come home and tell him what she had seen and heard and done, and he was able to be. She enabled him to be a forward-thinking president. He has septiles. he has a Saturn, Saturn, septile Mars. It should be said Mars, septile Saturn. And Moon, septile Neptune. Now that runs across the midheaven. And what he did, a strange, new idea. Understand that Moon Phase 12 has incredible clarity of vision. His new idea was that, government has the means and the obligation to intervene to ensure the basic well-being of the people. Who'd have thought? These septiles changed the future. And so it was with FDR that the idea that we should all conspire to take care of all of us by means of our government, that idea was planted in our minds, and while we resisted it, deeply resisted it, because, as our government will tell us over and over again, that's socialism. Yeah, well, anyway, that's FDR. Let's see who else I've got here. This is Bill Gates. Bill Gates, Moon Phase 12, who also married well. He has no Earth in his chart. His wife is his Earth. His mask is over there in Capricorn, and so his wife is very, very valuable to him. She is his grounding. What do we got? His ascendant is ruled by the Moon, which is ruled by Mars, which is in mutual reception with Venus. So he's got a three planet rulership up here that was very, very valuable to him. Notice the Uranus in the first house, and he's got Chiron in Aquarius in the 7th house, and that shows a certain alienation, which evidently is valuable to people who want to immerse themselves in computers. That south node up there in Gemini in the 11th makes him a loner. So all of this fits his Moon Phase 12 very, very much. He notice the Jupiter is conjunct to Pluto in Leo in the 2nd house of money. And oh yes, does that describe his money? It does indeed. The Mars, Mercury, and Neptune. Now that, I think, indicates that he was exposed at quite an early age, maybe in grade school, to what he was going to carry forward, which was computers. And this is just a very fortunate man. A very fortunate man. Evidently, he did really good work back at Moon Phase 4. Back in Moon Phase 4. Fortunate in his wife, who has turned him into not just a man noted for his money, but a man noted for his philanthropy and for his absolute belief. Notice that Aries up there on the midheaven, that he can change the world. Anyway, that's Moon Phase 12. Next we will do 13, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.